But now, thus saith the Lord, that created thee, O Jacob, he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the water, I will be with thee. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. And when thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flames kindle upon thee. Amen. Amen. As I meditated on what I would share with St. Paul in revival, several things crossed my mind. I looked at all of the occurrences over the past few weeks, and we've had major forest fires, haven't we? Destroyed lives and homes and businesses. We've had major weather conditions. I don't know about the Eastern Shore, but the murder rate in my area continues to soar. And a whole lot of it is black on black crime. Police are still killing unarmed black folk with no justification. Police are still being ambushed. If that wasn't bad enough, we got an out of control, bipolar psycho in the White House. And there's a brand new episode every day. So as I thought about all of these occurrences, many scriptures and subjects came to mind. One of which is, God is speaking, are you listening? Another message that I thought about delivering was, maybe God is trying to tell us something. They all sounded good. In fact, I began making notes, Pastor McClendon, and prepare an outline. But that's not the route that God would have me to go tonight. You see, any person that utilizes just a little bit of common sense can look at all of those events I just named and see that God is speaking. And his message is loud and clear. They got sense enough to know that God is indeed trying to tell us something. But that's not where I'm going this evening. When I looked at all of these events and looked at my own life and family situations, I had to acknowledge how good God has been to me. Even though everything in my life is not as I desire it to be, I had to acknowledge that he's still an awesome God. Can anybody witness to that tonight? When I look at my health and strength, I realize just how blessed I am. Got a little hypertension, but it's under control. As much as I travel the dangerous highways and airways, I realize that it's nobody but God who's keeping me. I now have a new revelation of Psalm 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. Don't be afraid of what lurks in the darkness or destruction at noonday. 1,000 might fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it won't come near you. The God I serve is not he a protector, is not he a keeper. Will he not provide safety in the midst of any dangerous situation? So on this evening, I want to share briefly from a question, and only you can answer it. Are you equipped to handle trouble? Are you equipped to handle trouble? As I read my Bible and meditated on certain scriptures, it reminded me, church, of the serious purpose for which we gather tonight in the St. Paul A.M.E. Zion Church. In everything that the church does in worship, preaching, teaching, praying, studying, fellowship, every time we gather, we do so with a goal in mind. And that goal is to develop and form Christians, to equip them to handle trouble, and to prepare them for an eternity with God. My brothers and sisters, it will take the industry of the church, the diligence of leaders, the intensity of devotion, and most of all, the grace of God to make this happen. Would you agree with that? The difficulty we face in achieving this goal is that we live in a microwave fast. Get it done in an instant. Hurry up. have it your way culture. It's either give it to me now or don't give it to me at all. So there are not many of us who are prepared for the challenges that this life may bring. Add to that the hassle-free, no worry, wave your troubles away, name it and claim it theology that's preached and taught in so many settings today. I don't care what the televangelist tells you. Everybody is not going to be a millionaire. Everybody is not going to have a mansion on top of the hill. Your children will not remain those sweet little things that you held in your arms. They're going to grow up and they're going to cause you some pain. Do I have a witness tonight? The result then is a weak, delicate, fragile, insubstantial faith that leaves the average church attendee unprepared for what we know as living in reality and facing trouble. We've been led to believe, my brothers and sisters, that trouble is not supposed to happen to God's people, especially when we're serving Him. We do our best to live by the golden rule. We take care of our church obligations. We help those in need of help. So we don't expect trouble to come our way. But how many of you know that theology is far from the truth? The psalmist says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God delivers us out of them all. He says, but the Lord delivers us out of them all. So that's the good news. Nonetheless, we come into this place, this church, to be encouraged. We come in here to be uplifted, to hear a word that will hopefully carry us a little bit further, strengthen us for whatever comes our way. And that's not a bad thing entirely. And I'm not opposed to that idea completely. But it does present an unbalanced gospel. You see, trouble is a reality, and faith is required to manage it. So I ask you again this evening, my beloved, are you equipped to handle trouble? We turn to Isaiah and his words of comfort as Israel wrestles with the idea of trouble. Isaiah describes trouble as fiery trials, as deep waters. There is a reason why his word has such a penetrating effect on us tonight. As the author Abraham Herschel says, more excruciating than the experience of suffering is the inability to say, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The problem with suffering is that while we are in the midst of it, so often it seems out of proportion to what brought it about. So the prophet in this passage seeks a deeper insight to explain our situation. It reads, but thus saith the Lord, He who created you, O Jacob, who formed you, O Israel, do not fear. I have redeemed you, called you by name, you are mine. Now what Isaiah is saying here, church, is God created me. Created is a word in Hebrew that suggests a formulative process. A process where the creator refuses to use inferior material. He was careful in selecting the elements that would contribute to what he had in mind. This ought to affirm, my brothers and sisters, how special you are to God. Isaiah goes on to say that God formed me. A word in Hebrew again that suggests he took raw materials that he was working with. He squeezed them. He pressed them. He molded them into shape, bringing about the purpose and design. That purpose and design in this passage is called redemption. Now, saints of God, I clearly see that nothing happens in my life by accident. When good things come my way, it's not by accident. When those not so good things come, it's not by accident, but God designed it that way. Even though I want to, I can't always question God when unpleasant occurrences happen in my life. For I know that all things, good things, not so good things, they occur in my life, and they work together for the good of them who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. Isaiah says we were created as Jacob and formed as Israel. You see, Jacob is the unwashed, raw-based, contaminated self that we were. But Israel is the redeemed, delivered, liberated, free person that we are now. Isaiah writes to a people in captivity, and this understanding frames his message. It would be easy to explain our suffering as a result of sin, but Isaiah prophesies to the nation of Israel that their suffering is much larger than their situation. The suffering of Israel is both redemptive and it's instructive. They are in trouble, but God is using that trouble toward their formation as his people. He wants them to see that trouble can be beneficial. Do you believe that tonight? The trouble is not to hurt them, the trouble is to help them. It's not to break them, but it is to bless them. The words the prophet uses to describe trouble are water and fire. Now, Isaiah's message, it wouldn't be too popular in today's society. But there is no expectation that we can avoid water and fire. You and I must go through some things in this arena called life. In spite of how faithful, in spite of how diligent we may be, we're going to go through some trouble. We can be here every time the doors of St. Paul open. We will not escape going through trouble. It doesn't matter, my brothers and sisters, if you write a check tonight and say build a brand new St. Paul A.M.E. Zion Church, you're still going to go through some trouble. But thank God there's good news. The word from Isaiah does not leave us in the pit of our pain without some hope, without some resolve, without something to prop us up. Instead, we are told that the waters will not overwhelm us. The fire will not consume us. So when the pressures of life seem to cave in on you, when there seems to be no hope for your situation, when those that you thought had your back will turn and walk away, the question before us tonight, are you equipped to handle trouble? The answer should be yes. And here's why. First of all, I have my perspective. I cannot always say that I'll be able to identify a purpose for which the trouble came. But here's what I can say. If I got the proper perspective, I will not forget that no matter what happens, God promised to see me through. Is there a witness in here tonight? If you remember, God said he would not leave us or forsake us. David can attest to that, can he? He told us in the 23rd Psalm, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because thou art with me. You see, there are lessons to be learned in every troublesome situation. I want to be wise enough, my beloved, to learn those lessons that trouble teaches me. There's no value in me going through pure hell, coming out of the fire, and going through that same hell again, and I ain't learned a thing. I read somewhere about how scientists were surprised to find out that the trees that they cultivated, they were not growing straight and tall, but rather they were growing bent over. What happened was the scientists had produced the perfect environment, yet they failed to produce healthy trees. These scientists finally realized that the reason the trees did not grow straight was because they had not been exposed to the storms. You see, without storms, the trees had not developed the ability to stand tall. My perspective, saints of God, is the troubles and storms I encounter in life, they got lessons for me to learn. They show me that God is equipping me to handle trouble. They show me that my trials only come to make me strong. When the storms come, I can stand and withstand, knowing that they are preparing me for tougher times later on down the road. And as I learn to withstand, I exemplify the power God has given me to sustain us through this stuff of life. That must be what Paul meant in 2 Corinthians 4 when he said we're troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We're perplexed, but not in despair. We're persecuted, but not forsaken. We're cast down, but we're never destroyed. That means that trouble doesn't have to defeat me. I can defeat those troublesome situations. And when I come out of trouble, I can look back and say like the psalmist, it was good for me to have been afflicted. I know more now than I knew then. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm better. So much better. You would say, yes, Lord. I'm equipped to handle trouble. Secondly, I can handle trouble because I have God's promise. What is God's promise to me? There is no promise implied that the waters will not come, but they would not overwhelm me. There's no promise suggested or inferred that the fire will not set ablaze, but it would not consume me. Then Paul gives us another lesson in Ephesians 6 of what we're to do in the midst of fire and water, in the midst of troublesome situations. He tells us to be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Paul lets us know that we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but against rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. In the midst of the fire and blood, we are admonished to put on the whole armor of God, so that when trouble comes, we can stand on solid ground. Therefore, we are to stand, my brothers and sisters, with truth and righteousness, with our feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. But that's not all. We are to take the shield of faith that will protect us from the fiery darts of the enemy. When we put on the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, then we got to pray fervently in the Spirit. So when the waters come, when the fires burn, learn how to take a lesson from the postage stamp. Know your value and know your worth. Stay in the right position and stick to it until you get to your destination. Because we have the promise that the waters will not come, or waters will come rather, they won't overwhelm us. When the fires burn, they won't consume us. And when you hold on to God's promise, you're going to be equipped to handle trouble. Thirdly, and I'm done, we can handle trouble because we trust the process. I have the promise of God's perspective that the waters would not overwhelm us. The promise that the fires would not consume us. So now I need to trust the process. See, church, we tend to forget about the process because we are so used to the instant results we get. Therefore, we become impatient when things aren't happening for us right away. But recognize that the process takes time, and it's going to be worth it in the end. When I was diagnosed with colon cancer, I want you to know that God told me that I would be healed. But he said, I got to go through the process. The interesting part of that was God said the process is not for you, but it's for somebody who needs to see how you handle the process. And that way they can gain a deeper trust in me. That didn't make sense to me. But I said, wow, Lord, you want to use me in that manner? Like Job, you must know that I'm up for the test and that I can handle trouble. So I said, okay, God, even though the challenge was a great one for me, and what really blew my mind was I prayed for others in the midst of my going through the process. And you know they got healed. And I said, okay, God, what's up with that? And they were healed instantaneously. Yet I still had to go through the process. Nevertheless, I said, God, not my will, but thy will be done. The process, y'all, it included daily chemotherapy and radiation for 6 weeks. But I continued preaching and serving. The process included removing a large portion of my colon and wearing an ostomy bag for 6 months. But after 6 weeks of healing, I went back to preaching, bag and all. The process included 3 more months of bi-weekly chemotherapy infusions. But I kept preaching, kept giving God the glory. Then finally the process included